Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me the opportunity to interrupt the proceedings. Many people around the chamber know that I'm not shy, but what I'm going to do today is actually making me very nervous, probably more nervous than I've ever been speaking on the floor. We oftentimes pass resolutions in the Assembly, and it's a there's a great line in here that I thought I would read, and it says, the legislative body to recognize and commend the caring, concern, and heroic acts of individuals who take prompt and appropriate action in emergency situations, nobly risking their own lives in an effort to preserve the life of another. I'm proud to introduce my great friend, Fire Chief and Lieutenant Colonel Marty Ingram. Marty, and I'm going to go through the formal reasons why Marty's standing here today, and then I'm going to tell you a personal story why I'm really just humbled to have him standing next to me today. Marty is recently the commander of the New York Guard, the 88th Brigade, and he's recently the recipient of the New York State Medal of Valor. He is a celebrated leader. He has just received the state's highest military medal. It is awarded for acts of valor, heroism, courage, and gallantry in either a civilian or a military capacity. Marty has served as a member of the United States Air Force and has had a long, distinguished career working at the FAA. As I mentioned, he is the commander of New York's 88th Brigade. In addition to all of that, Marty is also and was the chief at the Point Breeze Volunteer Fire Department in Breezy Point. New York City is serviced by the FDNY, who do a tremendous job, but because of the unique nature of Rockaway and some of the areas in southern Queens, we also have the opportunity to have volunteer fire departments who do a tremendous job keeping us safe. In Breezy Point, which many of you heard during Sandy was devastated, there are 3 volunteer fire departments. The day before Sandy was a tough day because we were going to get this storm in 2 waves, and the last stop I made on Sunday night, it was Monday night. The first wave of the storm came in Sunday night, and the next day I went to tour the neighborhood. At about 4 o'clock on Monday, before the real storm was upon us, the last stop I made was at the Point Breeze Volunteer Fire Department. There was mattresses strewn all over the floor. There was volunteers who were spent from a night before of fighting fires and rescuing people. Marty was the chief of the volunteer fire department. Marty was literally leading a brigade of young volunteers in some of the most dangerous situations, and we didn't even know that the worst was about to upon us. As I was leaving Breezy Point, the water was already rising on the one road in and the one road out, knowing full well that Marty and many of the volunteers were still sleeping on the floor from their actions the previous night. The storm hit. I don't have to tell anybody in this chamber what Sandy did to the areas of southern Queens and Rockaway, particularly in Breezy Point, because it didn't matter what channel you turned on, you saw that hundreds of homes were burning in Breezy Point. And I knew my great friend, Chief Marty Ingram, was literally the last person I saw as I left Breezy Point before the fire started. And I know Marty Ingram, and I knew he'd be the first one out there, regardless of how high those flood waters were. So the storm came, and it was days, literally days, before I heard from Marty or anybody from that volunteer fire department, knowing whether any of them made it or didn't make it. Well, as it turns out, I heard in the aftermath that the brave volunteers under Marty's and Chief Ingram's guidance and tutelage were the first ones to have a hose on the fire in Breezy Point. It is because of them that we only saw hundreds of homes being burned down instead of what could have been thousands of homes that are burned down. Marty Ingram is really the backbone of our community. He is truly a hero. He is an American hero, but more importantly, he is a hero to so many of the families that he saved during the storm, and for the so many years of his service. We are going to take up a resolution honoring Marty's great career and his service to the community, to the people of the city, to the people of the state. He was Volunteer Fire Chief of the Year in 2013. He continues day in and day out to service the people of the community. And I would be remiss if I did not end by saying and asking, although she's going to hate me later, his wife Nancy is sitting in the back. Every time Marty runs into a fire, Nancy has to sit home and wait to make sure that Marty is safe. I can tell you one of the most joyous phone calls I got in the days after Sandy was from Marty's daughter telling me that he lost his phone, he was involved in what was going on, and that he was safe. And it literally made me cry. It made me cry to know that he was out there, he was doing what he was always done, and that he was safe. Nancy goes through that on a daily basis. On his work with the New York Guard for the state, as a member of the volunteer fire department in Breezy Point, Marty has dedicated himself, and his family has sacrificed so much for that dedication. So we're going to pass a resolution later, but Mr. Speaker, if we can, offer him all the warm cordialities of the House.
On behalf of Mr. Goldfeder, the speaker and all the members, Marty and your lovely wife and bride. We thank you for the work that you have done and for your dedication to both your community and the state of New York. You are obviously afforded the privileges of the floor. We hope that these words and this time in Albany are some small measure of our return to you for the work that you've done. Thank you so very, very much.